Yo, what is going on? I am trying to do a podcast before I got to go to work. It's low key hot in my room, so if you hear my fan, you're gonna have to live with it. But I think we're gonna start off with last night. I watched UFC 319. That was fun as hell. Card was great, except for one part that we are definitely going to talk about. The Alexander Hernandez Chase Hooper fight was sick. Chase Hooper is a, I think, quite hyped up prospect. I'm not going to act like I'm a diehard UFC fan, but I think a lot of people were excited to see him fight in the UFC. And Alexander Hernandez put a mean ass damn, put a mean ass combo on him at the end of the first round. Dude looked super comfortable on his feet. For fighting a guy, a lot of guys fighting like a taller, longer fighter, normally you look a lot more uncomfortable. He did a great job of just staying inside his range. And yeah, there's not really a ton to talk about in that fight. That dude is shredded, and he threw a mean ass right hand straight through Chase Hooper's chin. That was an awesome start. So that's where I picked up at was the Chase Hooper fight. And then after that, I was watching the Lupe Godinez fight. That was awesome, dude. That was sick. I like Lupe Godinez. You could tell, obviously, that she had a big speed advantage on Jessica Andrade, who throws fucking bombs. I mean, that whole fight, she was throwing from the hip. Like, that was nothing but nukes. And I predicted she would win by unanimous decision. She did win by unanimous decision, so nice on my part, I guess. But Lupe keeps her hands so active for like I mean obviously you can tell they're straw weights, so it's not like they're heavy, I mean most of those fights are full of quick striking and a lot of volume striking, but her hands are active as fuck, especially in the second round when they got stood up. She was letting them fly. She low-key was putting on like a female version of like a Nick Diaz type of fight where you just not always throwing them at 100%, but just tagging and tagging and tagging and tagging and tagging and running you around. And showing off the chin too, and especially in the third round, Andrade was throwing nothing but fucking nukes left and right, and Lupe was eating them. I got to give her some credit for that. But you could tell Andrade has crazy power for a strawweight. Like you could hear it, you could see it in the way she was throwing them. She's throwing bombs, but Godinez did an awesome job in terms of takedown defense. I mean, not take. Andrade did a great job in terms of takedown defense. Shockingly good job of takedown defense. But hey, Lupe was putting them hands down the whole fight, just letting them fly. And I love to see that. It was an exciting fight, fun fight. Female UFC fights, low key underrated. We're not going to cover every single fight, but I mean, we're just doing a little quick talk about all of them. I did not watch the fight after that. I don't know how to pronounce either of those guys' names, so we're just going to bypass that. I watched that Tim Elliott fight. That was fucking sick. That was sick. Tim Elliott, great job. Got him by submission. I didn't think he was going to tap. I thought Kaya Sakura was going to go to sleep. He did not go to sleep. He tapped, but I thought he was going to hold through. You could kind of tell a little bit of a veteran presence there from Tim Elliott. You could tell that dude's been waiting to get back in the ring. I think they said he hadn't fought for 600 days or something like that. So you could tell he was dying to get back in there and put the hands down on somebody. The Jared Cannonier MVP fight was a little bit disappointing. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't that good. It was a lot of Cannonier holding on to him, just pushing him up against the cage, and I'm fine with that. I like wrestling. I'm not one of those fighters. I'm not one of those fight fans who's against like grappling and against working. But to me, it's always I want to see a bit more activity. You know what I mean? And we'll talk about that. Trust me when we cover the main card. But MVP fights are generally exciting. He kind of does a little bit too much. It gets a little bit corny to me from time to time, but I mean, hey, he's a showman. He puts on a show. He's always exciting to watch with that like point fighting karate kind of style. And I mean, anytime you're watching a guy who has that level of kicks and clearly was an elite kickboxer, it's always exciting to watch. Jared Cannonier, I kind of expected better from him. I thought he would be a bit worse of a matchup for MVP, but I mean, a bit better of a matchup for MVP is what I mean. Like a bad matchup if I'm MVP, I wouldn't be happy to fight Jared Cannonier, but he kind of did shitty. I wasn't. That fight was kind of boring. And then we really get to the best part of the card here was these two fights leading up to the main event. Carlos Prates. I don't know how. I don't know if it's Prates, honestly, I don't know. So make fun of me, I'm white. He hit Jeff Neal with some crazy shit. That spinning back elbow, I think they said there's only 10 of those that have been done in UFC history, and he knocked Jeff Neal the fuck out with one. It was sick. Spinning back elbow was crazy. Um, I think that I think that the fact that this happened twice makes up for the level of disappointment that the main card was in terms of like excitement. Uh, the Protez fight was over pretty quick. Lerone Murphy's fight, that was sick too. Again, another spinning back elbow got me fired up. The I mean, back to back has never happened before in UFC history, and spinning back elbow KOs only happened twice ever anyway. So that was fucking sick. You could tell that Aaron Pico definitely was real fired up. You could tell that this was a difference in, I guess, veteran UFC presence when you watch. I mean, I know that they have actually the exact same amount of professional fights, looking at it right now, but it felt like Lerone Murphy had a much more. I mean, he's older, but it felt like Lerone Murphy had a much more veteran presence, much more calm and collected. Where Aaron Pico was balls to the walls the second that fight started. It was exciting, and then Lerone Murphy caps it off in the end of the first round with a sick ass spinning elbow with about a minute 30 to go. Knocked him the fuck out. That was sick. I'm not going to go too in depth on it. I mean, I'm not a UFC guy, but I do love watching UFC. I'm not going to pretend like I'm some MMA genius, but I love watching UFC. And the main card, what we're here to talk about, was Khamzat Chimaev just absolutely tearing Dricus du Plessis to fucking pieces the whole time. Duplessis, my bad. But that was brutally disappointing to watch, but also insanely dominant from Khamzat. The problem is, as a referee, what are you gonna? You're gonna break him up and tell him that they gotta stand up every time. I mean, don't get me, here's my thing. This is what I was just talking about. I like grappling. I like some wrestling, but me personally, I would like to see a bit more work than just standing there getting elbowed in the ass. But also, I mean, knee in the ass. But also, this is Dricus's fault. Like, you have to be more defensive. You have to try and get out of that. You can't just sit there and accept. You can't just sit there in that like gorilla pose with your fists and your knees on the floor, just getting fucking whooped on the entire fight. Just straight up getting ragdolled for 25 minutes. Like every time he got it, you could tell it wore him out so quick. And I understand that's kind of the point. You know what I mean? A Khamzat, a lot of these guys who Khabib, a lot of these guys who did this would lay on you and just throw small strikes and just beat the shit out of you on the ground for 20 minutes. And by the time round 5 comes around, you're pretty much cooked. I don't think I've ever seen. God damn it! This is bad on me. I can't remember the name of that damn submission. I can't remember the name of it, but God, I've never seen somebody get put in that. Oh, not a submission. I've never seen somebody get put in a crucifix that many times in my life. That was insane. That was nuts. I could not believe that shit. It was a. Don't get me wrong. It was a boring ass fight because of how dominant Khamzat was in the fight, but got to give credit where credit's due. I mean, he beat the shit out of that dude. It just sucks to watch a fight where you're just getting humped for 25 minutes. So I don't blame the people who hate it. And I also understand the people who are like, I didn't come here to watch these two dudes just fucking lay on each other for 25 minutes. But I mean, du Plessis has to have some level of takedown defense. It's kind of his fault to a certain extent. I mean, of course, it's fully his fault, but there's only so much you can do if you're the ref. You can't just keep on. It's not his job to make it a fair fight for du Plessis. It's his job, or I mean, it's not his job to give du Plessis a chance. It's du Plessis' job to do that. You know what I mean? You have to fucking quit getting taken down every 30 seconds. Khamzat looked like he was on fucking steroids, dude. I've never seen like physically dominated that bad. That's one of the most dominant fights physically I've ever seen. He just every time du Plessis got up, he just fucking ragdoll, like big brothered him over and over and over, just beat the shit out of him every time he stood up. So boring fight, but shout out to Khamzat for being insanely dominant. The Niners Raiders preseason game. As a Raiders fan, I totally thought Jake Moody was going to smoke that game winner, but Purdy looked great, as you expect Purdy to look against, backups. Cam Miller looked bad, which sucks as a Raider fan. And Aiden O'Connell also looked kind of shitty. I mean, he was okay, but you just can't throw that pick. Ashton Genty, though, absolutely truck sticked Diamador Lenore, which was fucking awesome to watch. Got me fired up. I wish that we would have won the game, but I don't really care that much, to be completely honest with you. Brock came in and just got one quick one for 28. Nothing too crazy from anybody. Jack Beck was cool. The Niners didn't exactly cook too much either. I mean, it was a low scoring game. It wasn't exactly a thriller. If you just box score watched, you'd think that kind of both teams played like shit. I actually think that both teams played okay. But we're not going to do too much coverage on a Raider Niner preseason game, even though I am a Raider fan. Bad slip up. We have to edit that out. I read Niners in my notes. That was almost bad. I think I was just looking at this Jackson Dart game. Let me pull up the stats real quick, but I know Jackson Dart had himself a game last night. He was, I think his completion percentage was quite high, and they absolutely dog walked the Jets. Yeah, Jackson Dart was 14 for 16 with a touchdown, no picks, took one sack. I mean, QBR of 123.2, averaging 8.6. I mean, he was killing it. Russell Wilson threw a pick, Tommy DeVito threw a pick. Are you surprised? I wouldn't be shocked if about 12 weeks into the season, Brian Daboll is starting Jackson Dart to try and save his job. Jackson Dart should sit the whole season and learn, but he looked really good in the preseason so far this year. I mean, I think the guy's had 5 incomplete passes in 2 games. He's looked like an absolute dog, so shout out to Jackson Dart. We're not going to go too far into that. We've already talked about him once or twice. Scary Terry is off of the physically unable to perform list. I would expect him to probably be getting a deal done pretty soon and expecting him to be playing this season at this point. Uh, I mean, the Commanders desperately need Scary Terry if they want to be as good as they were last year this year. So hopefully they pay the guy. Hopefully they give him what he deserves. He's been a super solid dude for the organization. I mean, just pay Scary Terry. And then I was watching this video, one of the more interesting ones, about Cam Ward's arm arrogance. Let me see if I can give the guy credit. Let me pull it up real quick. Aiden Maher on TikTok. He posted this video about Cam Ward having arm arrogance, which is mostly good. And I love it. I loved the video. It was an awesome breakdown. They're basically just talking about the fact that Cam Ward believes that he can make every single throw. He does some video breakdown where he sees a guy running an out route. There's a defensive player in the flat, and he kind of has like a little touch pass over the flat into them instead of just throwing a fucking beam right over the tips of the guy's fingers. Just Cam Ward believes he can make every single throw, and I think that that's awesome, man. The term arm arrogance, I think, is something that's going to get added to my bag. I think that that's fun. I think that's a cool thing to talk about, is the fact that he believes that he can make every single throw on the field. There's nothing he believes he cannot do, which can of course be bad when it comes to throwing picks and blah blah blah. Like you don't want Mac Jones to have too much arm arrogance, but Cam Ward can have some arm arrogance. That guy knows how to play. You know what I mean? So I think I didn't have the Titans moving up very much in my rankings because I think the team sucks. But if I was a Titans fan, I would be pretty happy with the way Cam Ward's looked in the preseason. Let me pull up his exact stats, not the box score watch because I did actually watch the game. But yeah, Cam Ward was 2 for 7, so he wasn't too hot this game. He only got 7 passes though, so who really gives a shit? They beat the Falcons, who cares? But watching Cam Ward play, I mean, the dude is exciting to watch. I can't say that I expect the Titans to be very good, but I do expect Cam Ward to be good. Maybe not now, but at some point in his career, I think he's going to become a very good NFL quarterback. He has all the pieces I would expect him to need. I mean, he's got the mobility, he's got the arm, he's got the confidence. It just comes down to how well this dude's going to learn a playbook. I wish he would have been a Raider. That sucks. I really wish he would have been a Raider, but I watched him play Cal. It was Cal Miami, and that was one of the better games I've ever seen in person. That was an awesome game, unless you were me, who was a Cal fan. So that sucked that we lost, but it was an awesome game. And Cam Ward played his ass off in the second half of that game, and that showed me that confidence because you had a terrible first half. You're down like 24 points to Cal. Cal isn't worth being down 24 points to. I'm a Cal fan. Cal ain't never been a be down by 24 points kind of team. Or be down to Cal by 24 points. That's a fucking shocker anytime it happens, much less Miami. In the second half of that game, he came roaring back. So showed me that he had the confidence he needed. I'm high on the kid. I hope he's good. It's weird to call him a kid when I think he's like a year or two younger than me, maybe. But yeah, man, I really hope that Cam Ward ends up being solid. I think the arm arrogance thing is something I'm going to use more often. I think that's interesting and entertaining. I think that's really all that I got. I'm doing a pretty short one today. I've got a fucking mean ass migraine. I've had a headache for like 24 hours straight. So hopefully I can iron this out at work, and I will record another one tomorrow before I go into work. Appreciate you guys.